Oh, swing utensil. Hi, everyone. And
Good evening.
It's Paranormal Path Peeps.
Hiya.
And it's Christmas
Guten
show.
Tag.
And I've got a few guests here for the party. So we're going to do a bit of paranormal, a few stories, whatever, really. And we've got a few messages from people. So let me first introduce. Then we have Gary Fields. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening. Yeah, welcome along, folks, and everyone that's tuning in. Great to be a part of this. Just Gary Fields, just spiritual medium, and I've been on my path since I was 5 years old, and I just love every day of it.
Cool. And I first met Gary at Warwick Castle, where he scared the hell out of me. But in paranormal, that's normal.
Paranormal, that's normal. That's a strap line.
In a good
and
way.
we have Patricia.
Oh, good evening, everybody. I'm Patricia Farrer. I'm a spiritualist medium, and I like to do a bit of investigating as well, and also had some training in demonology. So, interesting pathway, and often get called out to interesting places too. So, we'll just see what transpires during the rest of the evening. I have one or two ghostly tales if we need them. And as you've probably noticed, I'll talk for England. So
Who here won't talk for England apart from Lois? Because Lois will talk for Scotland. Oh no, we've got Mark speak for Wales as well. So
Well, there is that.
speak for the UK, me.
Jackie da.
And we have my co-presenter Lois. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine, honey. My name's Lois and I'm just here because Phil's here.
She wants to see his fishnet stockings.
No.
We've got Nigel on. We've got a lot of Paranormal Nation Radio. Hiya, how you doing? Merry Christmas, everyone. We've got Wild Bill. Happy Krampus. Hiya.
Happy birthday to the other day, Wild Bill.
Yay.
Gary Fields. Awesome guy.
And Phil.
Hello.
Phil Newton. So would you like to introduce
Jackie da.
yourself?
Good morning, good evening, good night. Hello. I'm
Is that it?
Yes, I am a paranormal nutter. I've been for about 2,000 years. Won't change.
And Patricia,
Do a lot of events. Yeah.
I blame
People that
Phil
try
and
to go to
Patricia
walks,
for
so-
my path in a way.
Say again, Jackie.
I blame you and Patricia for what happened at my Lock Pavilion that night.
I'm sorry. My fault.
Yeah. Where basically a demonologist said I was actually partially possessed. That was the term what was used. I don't know, but basically I felt like my whole body was like out of control, and somebody was like controlling it with only my head saying get it out of me, and I couldn't actually speak. But that was scary. But that's why I do it every weekend when I can. So that's me. Mark Dudley from Wales. Hello.
Hiya. Although I live just the other side of Cambridge these days. Hi everyone. I'm Mark. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat there.
Oh, bless.
I've been investigating the paranormal now for nigh on 6 years, mostly all over East Anglia. I've had the privilege of working alongside Jacqueline on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
We've had some good laughs along the way. Now, I'd also like to thank you for inviting me on your show tonight.
I thought we'd just do a light-hearted show. You know, it is a dodgy time at the moment. We don't know what's happening. Well, they're doing Scotland. You're in a pickle, basically.
Aye.
I
think we're going into lockdown for 3 weeks, so I'll not be able to see my gran. So I went to see another day, which was quite happy about. So
yeah, so I think here we're just kind of holding our breath and just hoping for the freedom. You know, it's all we can do in it. So we thought we'd do a nice jolly show, a few stories, a few jokes.
Yep. I'm up for
And
that.
we have Michelle from Haunted Heritage. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good, thank you. I've been ghost hunting for probably not as long as you guys have. I just happen to work in a lot of haunted places. But I met Jacqueline at an event that Patricia was organising a couple of years ago, and this lady took ill during the session, and I just went to go and check on her to make sure that she was all right. Unbeknown to me that what, 6 months later on, we're going to be quite pally and doing stuff together. So that's awesome. Yeah, great connection.
Yeah, it's really weird because you kind of noticed me on Facebook because of the COVID situation, and I was online and you were just kind of bored and like trawling Facebook as people do. And we got chatting and then found out like later on that we'd actually met prior.
Yeah, bizarre.
Which is
bizarre. All thank you to Patricia.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Patricia, love
And,
you.
yeah, it's like an open circle evening at Tutbury Castle where basically we sat in a circle, covered in spirits, and a massive choking fit. I was in a right mess, and I don't know if it's spirit energy. It's just, and the worst thing is like you're choking, you're in a circle, you're not allowed to break or leave the circle, but at the same time, your coughing and choking is just like destroying everything, isn't it? So I just kind of left it really, and nearly choked, yeah, even more. But yeah, it's quite crazy. Bless you. And we have a paranormal in the funhouse and Paraflix. Hey, thanks for joining us.
We had quite an interesting night. Friday night went to Smithick Baths.
Oh, I love it there.
And it was in a quiet room anyway, and we'd all just settled down into this room. And I've got to mention this because I just thought it's one of them moments that you're not going to forget. And then all of a sudden we heard this shuffling outside the door, and everyone just went. And then there was a knock on the door, and a chap came to the door, and he opened the door. He said, "Oh, I feel a bit dizzy," and I'm like, "All right, something's affected him." He actually smacked his head on one of the pipes, and he's a little bit disorientated. So,
bless him.
And I took him back up to the hub, as you do. So I gets back up to the hub, and about 5 minutes later, and as I sits this chap down, I said, like, "Are you okay now? Are you getting back with it?" And he said, "Oh, I'm still seeing like, stars and all that." Like I said, "It's all right." Checked his head. There was no blood. And then all of a sudden, you could just see this big lump on top of his head. And I thought, I haven't got the heart to tell him, "You're all right. There's no blood, but there's this big little mound on top of your head." So,
got an extra dome.
So yeah, that was quite an interesting moment. But
Definitely.
As I do on my invest, I went back to the room, and all the other folks that I'd left were quiet, and they were. So I rattled on the door very loudly, and they all jumped, they all screamed as they do. So I just thought that was a nice little story to recap on the end of the year as well. So that was quite one of them moments where you never know what you're going to come across and what you're going to happen. But
yeah,
all the guests, they just seemed to go up in the room when I made my return back into the room as well. So. You've got to add on to it, haven't you, sometimes with trying to keep everybody on the toes.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I've done that before because I had a really bad public event. Now, the person organising it didn't have a clue how many were going to turn up. And some were drunk because it's in a pub after it's shut, so it's absolutely horrendous.
Oh, dear.
And a few from my drama group went, and we're standing around in an energy circle, and one was started nodding off. So I said to her, "Oh, you've got a ghost behind you." So that woke her up. That was really like, oh God. Yeah, she's just like nodding off, standing up. She isn't very good at staying up late. Hi Nick, how you doing?
Come on, who else has actually had a little power nap during an investigation?
Well, do you know, believe it or not, when I used to be with the first team that I used to go with, we had an investigation, and it was a Russian journalist was coming over investigating the paranormal. She was going across the world investigating all the different kinds of paranormals and how countries were dealing with the paranormal. And she came with us, and I had always, not so much now, but I always used to take 2 cans of Red Bull with me. That was my just in case. And I just happened to go to say something to her, and she was sleeping on the car journey, and I looked at the guy that owned the team like that, as in. And then, so I said to her, "Do you want a can of Red Bull?" And she was like, yeah, that would be great. And then obviously, like when we got there and we were investigating and that, so we done like a seance. So we're holding hands. When it finished, I happened to look up and she was actually asleep. And I said to her, I said to Alex, I was like, she's sleeping, and he's like, no, she's just hanging. I went, she's sleeping. And we actually had to wake her up, and then I had to give her my second can of Red Bull to try and keep her going. And then when we left the place and we were heading towards home, she stayed with the psychic medium. And I said to the psychic medium the next day, I says, "Oh, how was she? Was she all right?" She says, "She kept me up all night talking. She wanted to talk. She slept that much. She was wide awake, so she wanted to talk about the experience."
Oh, God.
That was so funny.
I've had a nap on a Ouija board during the Ouija session.
What?
I was doing a Ouija board, and it was with some. There's only a few of us, and Gary will know them quite well because it's a lady who organised Warwick Castle, and it was at Haunted Antiques, and it's about 5 in the morning, and I just, when your eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like your eyes are closed and you're like virtually falling asleep. Yeah, that was me.
God, yes, I know it well. Yeah.
But I was doing that on a Ouija board, so if people go, "Is it dangerous?" Well, I don't know, because I nearly had a nap with one.
Oh.
In all fairness, I think everybody was about the same situation. Like when you've done an all-nighter,
Yeah.
You worn out, your energy's gone. There's not much happening as well. Yeah, not much was happening on the board. So yeah, and that's it, isn't it? Any more funny stories there?
Well, the last investigation I was on, I asked for. In fact, the lasses for Paranormal Footprints would tell you we were where we were. See that castle we went to, and we were hiding in the wee bit. See where the first bit we went up to, and then there's that castle, and you went through the arch, and you get into that wee room. Well, we were standing in there, and I was doing my thing, any spirits in here, use my energy. I said, "Show me a sign that you're here," right? Next thing I knew, a bat flew in, through the window. I let a scream out. I'm like, "Oh, get away." I'm like, "Where did it go?" Like that, but we did ask for a sign. I said, "But no bat. I hate bats."
That's amazing.
That's brilliant. So, have you got any funny stories, Patricia?
Not funny ones. I've got spooky ones, but not any funny ones that I can think of offhand. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sort of when you're sitting with your brain switched off, they sneak in easier. When you're trying to think of something and get it all together, it's it's right. I've just had a message from somebody that can go.
Oh, bless you. Phil, what about you?
Pavilion, Pat.
Sorry?
Mafflet Bath Pavilion. Remember it?
I do.
Michelle was there as well.
Yes.
And the little ghost girl on the radio.
Oh, the little ghost girl. Yes. Yes, but that was.
Radio upstairs, didn't we? I think it was your team, Michelle. Left the radio upstairs. Remember it? And there was a girl.
There was a little girl speaking on the phone that sounded like spirit.
Yeah.
Where was that?
It was
at the Pavilion.
It was one of your nights.
Was it?
Yeah.
Might have been a night when Mitch wasn't there, because sometimes you're at different venues, aren't you?
Yeah.
But they'd got the walkie-talkies going, and there was a voice going over it.
Yes, I wasn't there, but yes, I remember the team.
You know of it. Yeah.
Michelle Lane was there. Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Well, basically, we was talking to the little girl after the radio was upstairs in the hall, and no one was up there. We thought the little girl was a ghost. So we were saying, "Whereabouts are you?" Says, "I'm upstairs." And it went on for about 2 or 3 minutes, this did. And then all of a sudden, this lady come on the radio saying, "Who's this?" Basically, she was in Macklet Bath somewhere, and the little girl was on the radio.
She'd found the right waveband, and she was quite innocently talking.
Yeah,
these mystery voices.
Yeah.
Bless her.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Well debunked.
Yeah.
No.
So, Mark, have you got any funny stories?
Yeah, the last time I was at Ruthin, we were at one end of this room and there was a smaller group up the other end. And we had a couple of cat balls on the floor. Suddenly, one of them just lit up.
Love them.
And it just started moving towards where we were. Nobody touched it or anything. The person next to me was screaming. It was quite funny. So we had a look around. We couldn't even debunk it.
Wow. I think it was funny when we were at the village in Mansfield, Mark. Your face changed into a monk.
Oh.
So you were kind of scaring the hell out of everyone.
No, scared the hell out of Karen.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
That was good. I'd like to return there someday.
Oh, wait. So, has anybody got any spooky stories then?
We should have between us all, shouldn't we?
We should have. Well, shall we start with Patricia then?
Yes.
By all means.
So Patricia runs a ghost walk.
I've got my book of ghostly tales.
Yeah.
And haunted history. Because I do a lot of little ghost walks, you see, so I have to check my facts and make sure they're all documented. Otherwise, I should get into trouble. Just trying to think. Well, I'll tell you one about Elveston Castle, I think. That would be all right for a starter. Yeah. Do any of you know Elveston Castle?
I've heard of it.
It's not far from Derby, probably about 8 miles outside, so it's reasonably near. But it is very old, on a very old foundation, very old footing, and it belonged to the Earls of Harrington. And at one time in the early 1900s, one of the earls was master of the hounds for the local hunt, and he absolutely loved his horses, loved his hounds, and loved to go to hunt. And it was something he really loved to be involved in. But one year, when the earl was getting on in years, his health took a turn for the worst. And sadly, he subsequently died. Buried in the family mausoleum in the churchyard, which is very close to the castle. It's sort of within the grounds. And it used to have an enormous alabaster angel statue on the top, now waiting for restoration since some motorcycling enthusiasts tried to jump over it on their bikes and knock the whole lot down, which is quite sad, but it's all somewhere waiting to be repaired. This is from years ago. Yeah. But buried in this great big mausoleum, which is quite a size and quite creepy, actually. And on the first anniversary of his death, a rather dark and gloomy day, the rest of the hunt members thought it would be a really great idea to hold a hunt in the Earl's memory. And they began to assemble with the hounds in the grounds of the castle. As they were all assembling and getting everything together, there was suddenly an unexpected noise was heard, which quite gave them the creeps because it sounded like a hunting horn. But it wasn't any of them. They were all sitting there on the horses and waiting the moment. And the strange thing was, because of this sound, whatever it was, they all stopped in the tracks. The dogs sort of stopped and sniffed the air. And then to everybody's horror and amazement, the hounds all disappeared. And they wouldn't come back to call. And the huntsmen searched everywhere around the grounds. And then the only place they hadn't checked, the hounds were eventually found all crowded together around the mausoleum. Oh. And this is documented. They were found around the mausoleum, wagging their tails and listening intently. And they'd obviously heard something and still wouldn't come to call. And the hunt leader knew when he was beaten and said, "Gentlemen, we may as well give up and go home. The Earl has called his hounds."
Oh wow.
And the sound of the horn has been reported as being heard intermittently over the years. I've never heard it. I have seen strange things around the cattle grounds because it's not so very far from where I live. I've seen strange shapes and checked certain stories out, and they sort of fit. They sort of fit. It's an interesting place.
Yeah. Me
Yeah.
and Phil have had something happened. We went up one night.
What, to Elveston?
Yeah, and walking around the
Excellent.
grounds.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's relatively cold. And I was just chatting to Phil, and all of a sudden he was chatting to a Victorian girl. Can you remember that, Phil?
Yeah.
I just totally changed in front of his face, and he started freaking out talking to me.
Oh, bless.
So yeah, we're just having a normal conversation, but it must have just got overshadowed or something. I was like,
yes, it's possible because the lady, Mariah Foote, the Earl's lady from many, many years before, I think she died quite young. She was a beautiful girl, and she walked the grounds at times. They call her the White Lady now, but she's buried in the grounds, but didn't want to be buried in the churchyard. She's buried separately because she didn't want to be sort of penned in. She was a free spirit, but she's seen wandering about sometimes with her hound as well.
Oh wow!
I know.
Have you got any stories, Michelle?
Me, not so much funny ghost stories, but I think that the bigger horrors for me have been the guests.
Yeah, I bet.
They've given me more to be concerned about than the actual ghost.
Oh, bless you. Oh, bless you.
That's the thing about events, isn't it? You don't know who's going to come along.
No, you don't.
It's generally the ones who are dragged along and don't want to be there, isn't it?
Oh, God, yes.
It like skeptic. They just take the mickey out of everything and they just won't shut up, and they kind of ruin it for some of the others, don't they, really?
Yeah.
They do.
We're a bit of a major one, beginning of December time. We were at 1620 house, and full house, lovely.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and there was a gentleman there who was beyond obnoxious. And I just thought, we paid good money to be here. Why are you trying to destroy everything? And fortunately, Stacey, one of the team members, she's a very assertive lady. And she's an expert in how to handle toddlers, and this guy was destroyed.
Oh, I am glad.
That's brilliant.
Oh, it was hard. I mean, each break time, your team go together for a quick chat. How was it for you? And any tips, kind of thing. It was anyway, but we love all of our guests.
Yeah, I used to do the same in my pub sometimes. It's great.
Yeah.
I just used to annihilate them.
Oh,
they came all big with the muscles and everything. And then there's one specific one who was being an idiot at the bar. So I just stood up to him and called him a name. He said, I'm trying to be funny. I said, no, you're not, mate. And he went and stood one side and all his mates on the other side laughing at him.
Oh, God.
I think care how many muscles they had, in all fairness, but yeah.
Here's a question for you all then. Who's actually gone home from an investigation with an attachment?
No, never.
Not of the human.
Never. No.
I've got 5. I've got 5 in my house.
That's theft.
What's been happening is that this is a true story. My boyfriend is like skeptic. He is heavy skeptic, and it was about, when was it, Jacqueline? I messaged you about it a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was in the bathroom and then I came out, put the light off, and I came back through and I sat in my room. And my man says he was going to wanted me to make a cup of coffee. I'll be polite, and that wasn't what I said to him. What I said to him was, go make your own coffee, but it was in the Scottish tone of voice, right? And he got up and he did. And I could hear him talking, saying, who's in the bathroom? And he couldn't get in. And he obviously opened the door and came through and he went, Louise, did you lock the bathroom door? And I looked at him and I went, laughing at him, right? Because I thought he'd been funny. And I thought, why would I lock the bathroom door? He says, That would be pointless. It says Louise, the bathroom door was locked from the outside and the light was on.
Oh dear.
So he's like,
that is
I was
weird.
like, and I was having a session and I was getting answers back to me. I was like,
Wow.
and I was like, how many spirits are in the house? 5 came back through. I was like, oh, okay. But there's no like mischief. I know one of them's definitely my granny, without a doubt. It's my granny, because my granny's always with me all the time. Every psychic I've ever been to always picks up my granny. First thing
Oh,
is your gran's
bless
with you.
you.
My mum's mum, aye. But my sister's now terrified because she keeps saying to me, Louise, what if they come in? I said, that's all right. I'll just ask them if they could drop kick you off my couch. It's fine. But I don't know what it is about me. I think it's just like a spirit magnet, honestly, because in any investigation, it seems to be like they want to interact with me, and I don't know if it's causing my energy or the way I am or what it is.
Oh.
I went to a location called the Sweet Centre, Sweet Shop, and basically it's next door to the Haunted Museum in Nottingham. It just opened at the time, and it was just a building. But the minute I walked in, I picked up like an undertaker. As soon as I walked in, and no one else did. But as the night progressed, it just got worse and worse. Now there are links to an asylum as well. And I think there are connections there, and the stories I was getting was quite horrific. And I sort of got a vision of what was happening upstairs, and then later on in the night, other people got it as well. So I left there and then went camping the next day. So I had quite a drive up to Northumberland, about 4 hours drive, whatever. Put my tent up, and I got 2 storms as well. And I was so miserable in the tent, more than you would be anyway. And it's so hard getting rid of him. It made my holiday hell, really. You just really struggled with it.
What I've found is not as much as attachment. I've had situations where, as a medium, you have to get to the bottom of things, of why things have gone on in a certain situation of an investigation.
Yes.
And it can take 3, 4 or 5 or 6 months to actually put that section of interaction to bed and move on away from it, where they can make a lot of things difficult for people in and around you, or other places that you go into. I think I went to Shepton Mallet prison down by Yeovil, and straight away from the hub, I was going straight to the governor's office, went there, dealt with what I had to deal with, and all night long, it was just absolutely constant. He was out. I got to the bottom of the story, what was going on with him, explained that, didn't like me giving the information and the evidence of what I was getting spiritually. And then a couple of days later, it was like, I'll make you work. I'm the governor. A lot of things was going on personally that was going on in and around me. It was virtually testing me to the limit. And then that certainly went on for a few weeks, and that was affecting people that were going there as well. So he wanted to still be in charge spiritually, but where I was dealing with him on the investigation, that was fine. Everything was up in hand, but he was trying to do things underhanded, controlling a lot of situations away from it after you'd been to the location, after you'd been to the investigation. So sometimes spiritually, they don't like their story told of what they were doing and where they were up to in like gambling debts and a poor marriage, wife divorced and stuff like that. So sometimes it's about keeping the lid on things and working with them later on as well. So it's the understanding where you can call them in and then have that personal one-to-one chat. And then sometimes they don't want to know. And when they don't want to know, they'll run their road and path until you've put a finalization on it. And it can take weeks and months sometimes just to put things to bed and have that, right, that's it, now we're done. You've done your bit, we've done ours, we've worked in the right way, we've been very professional. And then sometimes when they're not playing bat and ball, it sometimes you have to call your team in and then put things to bed really quick then, you know what I mean? So sometimes it can, what's all this about, what's going on here? And then working out that somebody's doing this when you're not in a working mode of what's going on. So when you're in your own time and space, you can turn around and go, right, what was that about today that somebody tried to upset the apple cart with? And it's that spirit from that place you investigated 3 or 4 weeks ago, you know. So you have got to be on the ball all the time, I think, as a medium.
Well, that explains something to me then, because I've had an issue the last 3 investigations where spirit are getting offended by what I'm seeing from them. So I was invited to speak at a Paracon at Harlington Manor. So the minute I actually walked into the building, I picked up on something and then went in another room, picked on something else. And then as the night progressed, we went into an investigation. I actually started speaking to a gentleman, and I was coming out with what he was wearing and what he was doing, and he's basically saying, you know, you're saying too much here. And he really wasn't impressed. And when I was there with Mark as well at the prison.
Ashwell.
Yeah. Hi, Wayne.
Yeah.
How you doing? So I was at the prison as well, and that was the problem, wasn't it,
Hello.
Mark?
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Seaman.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Hey, Mr. S.
hello. We don't have Mr. Manley with us, unfortunately, because this morning I tested positive for COVID.
Oh,
for
Wayne, I'm so
God's
sorry.
sake, Wayne.
So
Sorry to hear that, mate.
I had to phone Mark Manley up pretty quickly and say, don't leave Yorkshire because you won't be able to come round. So
Oh, God, that's good.
Oh, dear.
sort of like upset the apple cart, I'm afraid.
Well and
Wayne.
truly.
Oh,
Oh, no.
dear.
But I don't mind. I'm well, to be honest.
Yeah. You with your family, though?
I don't
You're
mind.
stuck with your family anyway?
How is everybody?
All
Yeah,
right.
not bad.
All good, Wayne.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're okay.
So
Sorry?
do you want to say a bit about yourself then, Wayne?
Would I like to say a bit about myself?
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Lung. Okay. Well, obviously, a lot of people already know who I am. But yeah, I've been investigating for about 35 years or so, on and off.
Wow.
I then started working alongside Most Haunted for my sins. And then I decided I was going to go sort of my own way, walked away from them and started my own group. I was then approached by not Antics Productions, swore again, by Portrait X Productions to present their online show, Truth Beyond Paranormal, which we're now looking into the second season, which is going towards Amazon sort of mid next year. And I then started Wayne Seaton Presents Spook and Ori, where all the stories that I wrote for the breaks in between series with Most Haunted, I would do little ghost stories that I've written myself. And I then started publishing through Amazon with the books. So it's all been sort of all pretty busy, but it's been good.
Yeah.
Wayne,
And
I
then
can't
obviously
believe
it's meeting
you.
up with guys like yourselves.
Wayne, I can't believe you're lying about your age. You tell me you were 21.
She got you there.
Very
So-
fast, mate. Double it and then some.
21, I'm 18.
Right, I've received a few Christmas messages then from different teams. So what I'm going to do is play one for you. So just going to work out how to do it. Just bear with me. Just got to load it. That went wrong.
Take two.
Spectacularly.
Struggling.
We'll try again in a bit. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it was. That was rubbish. Did you hear anything then or not?
No.
Just wee bits, but vaguely, I couldn't really make out what was being said.
Yeah,
I heard the
I
ding
think
dong.
The thing is, when you start a video, it starts it straight away, doesn't it? So I don't know how to share it. Maybe I'll try it that way.
Good old
But hey,
technology.
so what are you going to do at Christmas then, Wayne? Have you got some food in?
Yeah, we've done all our shopping. I think it was about 11 o'clock this morning because my son and my daughter went off to their mum's house today, and Chloe had complained of having a sore throat. So their mum had already had COVID, and she'd just come out of lockdown.
Oh, gosh.
So they were quite happy to go and see their mum, but of course Chloe complained of a sore throat, so she did the rapid antigen test on her, and she phoned up and said she's tested positive. So I'm like, oh God, please don't. So of course I got the rapid antigen tests out myself, did one myself, and within 30 seconds it had come up with 2 lines. And I thought,
no.
I don't believe this. So we did one on Tamsin, my youngest daughter, and she's tested positive. Luckily,
God.
Ellen and Freddie and Ethan have all tested negative, but obviously being in the same house,
Yeah,
it's going to be
that's
very
right.
hard for them not to get it. So I've now got the wonderful fun of trying to book in a PCR test, which apparently over Christmas isn't going to be easy. However,
Yeah.
the 7 it's now changed to 7 days, not 10, so they've brought it down again.
Yeah.
So if I don't get to do a PCR test till after Boxing Day, I've lost half of my lockdown straight away.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
we're staying in. We're not going out anywhere. My parents are in Corfu, so I haven't got to worry about them coming round. There was only Ellen's mum that was going to be coming round on Boxing Day, and we've had to say that sorry, but you can't come down.
Oh, wow.
So we're all supplied here. We've got plenty to last us to the New Year. So
Yeah. Oh, that's
I'm quite
awkward.
happy with it. I don't mind.
Well, when you joined us, we were just talking about where we've potentially taken spirits home with us, where we've been on an investigation. Okay. So has anyone else actually taken a spirit home with them? I've got a story to tell about it. Phil?
Yeah, you know mine from the HAPLC. No,
that's a funny story.
It was a little doll. It was in the voodoo, not the voodoo room, the witch room. But this eye. And was it you? Did you give it to me?
It was me, yeah.
Yeah, in the seance room. Basically, she handed this doll to me. So, yeah, I've got this doll, Phil.
You're allowed to move any object.
Yeah.
So I found this little weird plasticky looking doll, which was like totally insignificant. So I picked it up, I tapped it on the table.
She wasn't happy, was she? No. So basically, yeah, I mean, I've never jumped in all my time doing this, but what come out of it, it was like, I can describe it as, it was like a little crawly thing.
Itchy and scratchy.
It went up my arm and sat on my shoulder and just dug in. And I just jumped backwards and just shut the doll. But for about 6 months, when I come back home, 6 months later, it was around my house. It was crawling on the ceiling, on the floor. It was like a little ball of wool, fluff.
With claws, wasn't it?
Yeah. But the backstory to it was the 2 ladies from Paranormal team, I don't know which one it was, brought it from eBay and says, we're not going to touch it. We're going to send it straight to Neil, that owns the centre. And after Neil got it, they put it straight into the witch room. And I was the lucky one that picked it up and got the entity out of it. But the entity was from it was a high priestess, apparently. High priestess put this like nature, something to do with nature, into this doll. It wasn't anything negative. It was just like a little spidery thing. But yeah. Anyway, 6 months later, I went back to the centre. I said to whatever it was, come back with me. I'm going to take you back to the doll, place you back in the doll. Anyway, got in the car, drove down M1, and the thing jumped from my back seat onto my shoulder. I thought, yeah, it's with me. So anyway, got to the centre, says, right, you're back in. And I've got the doll. It run up my other arm, I think it's my left arm, over my shoulder, back down into the doll. That's it, put it back on the shelf. And that's where it stays now.
Wow,
so,
waiting for the next recipient.
Yeah, crazy story that was. Well, yeah, cheers, Jack.
Yeah, it's all right. I was getting you back for what you did to me.
Yeah.
So, happy birthday. Nice. And happy Christmas to you. So, is anybody else taking anything home? Michelle, you're out and about a lot?
I've never taken anything home, but in every one of our investigations at the end of the night, we always say to the guests, right, if anyone's concerned about when they're driving home, taking anything home, just checking your rear view mirror as you're driving along, just to make sure there's nothing on the back seat. That's always a good thing. And then I also say that if you have taken something home, that's theft, and the company and the venue will be prosecuting you. But that's about it, really.
Yeah. Mark, have you had anything?
No, I can't say we've had anything or on our events. But at the end of each event, we always do a little protection prayer just to make sure whatever is at the location stays there, doesn't follow anyone home.
Yeah.
But it's never happened to me, never's followed me home.
I think I had a few encounters. Yeah. We went, me and Phil went to this little cave thing, Hermit's Cave. And there's something a bit nasty in there, wasn't there? Of the earth.
Yeah, it was strange because obviously we went in the daylight, but once it started turning dusk, it changed. The atmosphere changed, everything changed. It was like went very sort of negative. And there's a lot of witchcraft up there as well, so I'm not sure. But yeah, it's changed from good to sort of really dark, so I could say. But something actually followed us back down the actual path until we got through the gate.
They followed us down the path, and we sort of said, stay there, do not follow us.
Yeah.
But then we realised we got to the wrong gate. So we had to do a U-turn.
Oh, wow.
So we had to go back in the woods and then out again.
Yeah, the sat nav was rubbish, wasn't it?
But let's be fair, how many have all got lost on the way to an investigation? Either going or going home.
Me, Phil, and Patricia.
Definitely.
We tried to Hermit's Caves, and we couldn't find them. We managed to find a woman who was collecting toads in a bucket.
Yes.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was the toads apparently sort of migrated, didn't they? And when they came back, a lot of them tended to get flattened, so they were rescuing them in advance. But the strange thing that the woman said, and I'd love to hear what she was talking about, because she said, when you get the toads all in the bucket, she said they sing to each other. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I thought, what? One day I'll find out, but I haven't done yet.
Toad hunting.
Toads in a bucket.
Yeah, really weird.
Yeah, there's one night I was at Great Stew Priory as well. Went in the lights. If anybody ever been, it's Leicestershire. And it started turning dusk. Went into the woods, got lost in the woods. Could not find the way out. Took us about 3 hours to get out. Had to use Google Maps to try and get out of the place. It was that dark.
Oh,
it was funny.
It is quite funny because on all the way around Grey Stew there is a road.
Yep.
One side of the hill, there's a road either side. It's a big triangle.
Yeah.
I went into the centre and I found it was weird. I found an armchair in the middle of nowhere, and I sat down.
Yes, you do.
Oh, how strange.
Weird.
Yeah.
So
have you got lost, Wayne?
When I first went to Harrods Redoubt Fort many years ago, it's strange because living in the area, you'd expect someone like me to know where it is. Being a ex-coach driver and doing all these different places. And the very first time I went to Harrods Redoubt Fort, I never realised that if you blink, you'd miss it. And the amount of times I went past the entrance, I must have gone past about 8 or 9 times before I actually realised where the entrance was. And it is literally just a very narrow driveway up to the fort itself. It's up a hill.
Oh.
So like literally you can drive past it, and if you're not that observant, you miss it completely.
Wow.
And they ended up putting a big flagpole at the bottom of their driveway. They put a flagpole in, and they said to everybody, when you come in via the sat nav, it takes you through an area called Bathside, which is near the docks. And as you come out and turn left to go towards the fort, you see the flagpole on the other side of the road. So you know you've got to slow down. But up to that point, everybody just kept going past it. And even when Most Haunted Experience did an event there, I had to go and stand down at the bottom of the driveway so Carl and Stuart knew where to turn in. And they were constantly phoning me saying, "Where's the entrance? Where's the entrance?" I said, "Well, I'm standing down here. So if you see me waving, you know it's me." And the second I saw a Toyota Yaris coming toward, what's the other ones called? The hybrid ones.
Prius.
That's it, the Toyota Prius. You've got a blue Toyota Prius. As soon as I saw this Toyota Prius coming, I'm standing there going, "Oh!" like this in the middle of the road, trying to flag him down. And they still drove past.
Sounds about right.
But it is a very awkward place to go to, and if you blink, you will miss it. You've got to know what you're looking for, and you just go straight past it.
Yeah, I guess really you've got to look at Google Earth first to see what the front looks like, because I went straight through tunnels. So I was invited to go and work for a team at Draco Tunnels for a night. So it's like an hour and a half from where I live. And you're just going down this like country lane. It was dark at the time. It was March time. And I was on my own. And you just like think, well, where is it? I've shot past it once. And then like I came back, did a U-turn, and I thought, oh, I can park there. So I parked there and managed to see this like dark hole into the hills. And yeah, I thought, well, this is probably it. So you kind of then wait until somebody arrives, aren't you? And then this car pulls up and you don't know if it's like a dogging spot or if actually somebody's come to work with you. But yeah, there's so many awkward places, aren't there? And me and Mark went recently to a prison. And that's a bit of a pain as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because it's you think a prison's going to be massive, and well, yeah, it is. But you're actually going to like one unit on it, which I think it's an airsoft place, which a lot of the locations are, aren't they? And they double up as like haunted locations as well at night. And you just kind of pull into this estate, and like, yeah, you're at the prison, but where do you have to go? And I just followed a car in the end, hoping it was the right one. And yeah.
Is that the one in Derby, Jack?
It's Ashwell.
Ashwell's it, okay.
Ashwell in Rutland.
Okay.
Oakhampton, Leicestershire.
Yeah.
It's a good location. But you will get lost on the
You get about 4 different units there, 4 different blocks. So you've got quite a lot to look through. It's not how I think a typical prison would be. It's kind of low security, kind of a lower security one. And I've picked up a lot on sort of young offenders sort of going there. And they've got like a bed, they've got a desk, and they've got a wardrobe in each room. So it seemed to be like 1 to a room.
It sounds like student accommodation.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was. And they've got a private bathroom as well. So yeah, it was really kind of. They've got it better accommodation than some people in houses, haven't they, really? If they've got to share a house, they don't get their own toilets. So, yeah.
I must admit, Lennox Castle's the exact same. When you're trying to find Lennox Castle, the way Lennox Castle sits, it's at a mental hospital. It's an old mental hospital. And the way it sits is it's a way up the far back, and you've actually got to go up this big massive hill. And it is you could quite easily get lost here. But the way I always remember it is, it's next to Celtic training ground where they train. It's actually just up the road a wee bit. And that's how I always remember Lennox Castle. And Lennox Castle will always stand out to me because it's one of the places, and I kid you not, that you've got to experience. I would say probably just go in the minute that day's going to turn into night, because 2 atmospheres are two totally different. When you're there during the day, you don't feel in. As soon as it turns to night, that's when the atmosphere totally changes, and that's what I love about Lennox Castle.
Wow.
A lot of places do though. As soon as the night comes in, they do take on a whole different character, don't they?
They come into their own, I think, when it gets darker.
Yeah.
They come into their own.
Definitely.
Yeah. Why do you think that is, Gary?
Basically, I always find the atmosphere changes, doesn't it? So again, you've got that time where I would say the dusk till dawn type of scenario where you can do a live feed and people will do live feeds and sea spirit. People at sea spirit will see in the day as well. You know what I mean? So when you come into the night time, the atmosphere changes, the ambience changes, and it's like opening a doorway or a portal. It's just like it's opening their corridor to being more receptive to working and around you as well, especially depending on which way people work with their senses and how every medium works in a different way, don't they? So, or people and an empath or anything like that, everyone works in their own different way. So I think I always ask for the building to come alive and the onion layers come and roll off back from the older times first. So if you're in a 16th century castle, you will pick up from that. I always like to pick up on from the older energies moving forward to the modern times, and that helps there with the sessions. And if you're on an investigation in the location, you get different chapters from the different areas, from the different times with each section and segments. That's the way I always find. So that's the way I always like to roll.
Yeah.
Do you ever find that, say you're going somewhere medieval, and you wear medieval clothing, does that trigger things off more, do you think?
Well, I would safely say that's part of the it's where the stone tape theory, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You're bringing alive the ambience of that era and that segment. You know what I mean? Like some people will play music from the war era, and then that'll just trigger that. Mill Street Barracks is one for that. Well, as soon as you walk in a place that's got that certain big chapter of that time in the period where a lot went on there, you can spiritually hear bombs dropping outside and sirens going off, and it just seems to relive. And then certain places, I get drawn a lot to the 1890s, the 1910s and 1920s. And a lot of that period in time, that's when a lot of spiritual work was being done by your early seances, and people were really opening them chapters of them windows around the turn of the century. So again, it depends where you are. I can get called to, I always say, the Tower of London. It might take me 6 months to get there, but I know there's a spiritual journey or there's a spiritual something to help. And again, when you get to a location, no 2 days are the same, are they? I also people go different times of the year, your August, your spring, your summer and your winter, because you've got different segments of them energies.
That's right.
Stuff's gone on there, and that's what you learn. You never stop learning when you go to a location.
Yeah, it is amazing.
It's amazing.
It's down to, you could have, say, like a church or a castle would look one way during the day, and you could go, oh, that looks really, really creepy. It looks really spooky. But then at night time, because the light has changed, it's made it even creepier still. And therefore, it's sort of making you feel a bit uneasy because that creepy building has now got even creepier still. And so you're expecting something to happen. And it's because it's been implanted into your head, that creepy building.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with Gary that, the atmospheres do change when you go in daytime and nighttime. And Colchester Castle is horrible in the dark. It is very horrible, especially down in the basements when them lights go out in the dungeons at Colchester Castle.
Wow.
Not a nice place to be.
The basements of castles are always special, though, aren't they? Especially if you find an oubliette, where basically they just used to throw people down there to die, didn't they?
Yes.
We love those from
when you see a
paranormal
pair of
perspective.
broken legs walking about.
Do you know what, Wayne? I've just written something around the manifestation down. I've just written manifestation down there. One of my first manifestations that I had an experience with. I was with two of my Reiki masters, and they took me to Shotwick Castle, which is on the border of the River Dee. And 100 years ago, they changed the flow of the River Dee, so the castle became no more. So it's only a mound now. And then all of a sudden, they were testing me, like trying to train me and help me. And they said, like, what do you see? What do you sense? And I'm stood in this field, which is just a field now, and a mound, and you can see the old moat. And then in the corner of my eye, the first thing I seen was like a chap on a horse with a lance. And I could see this horse charging across the land. And I was like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? And that is a moment that time froze, because I was just like, right, okay, rewind. You've got no rewind, but time just froze. And certain times, certain people will say to you, if you're staying in that hotel, watch out for this room. And I always say, don't tell me.
Yeah.
You know, when it's blind, you can't sleep with your back to the wall, or you can't face something when you stay in these hotels. I think that was it. I went to Rosslyn Chapel, and I was in the hotel at Rosslyn Chapel, and they put me in this hotel and for the night and said, oh, watch out for this in the room. I said, don't tell me anything. I could not sleep all night and nothing happened. You wake up you get up the next morning and you're like, you've had no sleep and you're just waiting for something to happen. So sometimes some perspective of what people have experienced, I always say to them, don't tell me, because I'd have had a good night's sleep that night and I would have still picked up on stuff in and around the atmosphere of the room anyway. Do you know what I mean? So they would have come forward naturally, but I always find it hard sometimes where people say, look out for this or expect that. And it's like, I think that changes the whole perspective of that scenario where don't give us any information. Let's just see what happens and unfold.
Don't feed the medium.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Who else goes into a location blind?
What did you say, Jackie?
Who else goes into a location blind then? See what they actually get rather than...
I'd rather go into a location
I always like to go blind. I can remember going to Berkeley Castle for the first time, and although the guides were going to talk to us all about different stuff, I just said, let me walk around first with you, tell me about it after. And the things that I saw were unbelievable. And there is a big oubliette there, but I didn't know. I was waiting for the guide to tell me about it after. But I could see people, I could see all sorts of different scenarios, and I could hear people screaming and shouting and all sorts of stuff. It was only later, when I'd given off everything that I could see or feel, that the guide then told me all about the oubliette, and then the king that had been imprisoned there, and all sorts of stuff. But I could even see him in this room that he was kept in. It was quite intriguing. Doesn't always work like that, but that one did.
That's strange. Lois, what about you?
I prefer to go in blind, to be honest, because I just think I want to be like, I wasn't for the old school methods, but it was more as my time in the paranormals went on that I've decided I want to try the old school methods. And one particular time, look, like that time that we went to the same castle that I was speaking about prior, when we went in, I mean, as Jacqueline will vouch for me, never had researched this place, didn't know nothing about it. First time gone, and we went into this particular bit, and I just felt like I wanted to rock a baby, like a baby. And I'd done that, and the team said to me, what else do you sense? I says, well, I just want to shush this baby, and I want to walk towards the window, which I did. So they said, right, walk towards the window and continue and see what you feel from there. So I walked towards the window, and I was like, I feel like I want to fall out it. And it turns out that there was a woman that's been spotted falling out that window with a baby in her arms. And obviously, and people got like pictures of it and that, and they were like, I was even mind blown, because I don't. Sometimes I don't understand where it comes from, because it's not the first time that I've went into somewhere and like something like that came to me. Like I went to another location, and the psychic medium was doing her thing, but I knew this spirit wanted to talk to me, and so I took the EVP, and it was like suddenly the room, the only way to describe it, and Gary will probably get this, more than anything, like the room changes, and this room changed, and it was like I could tell, and I was responding with questions to this spirit, and the spirit was responding back. And I could see that it was though they were marking how many days they had been locked in this room. But it was so cold, and it was it was cold that night. I was cold because of the room temperature, and I was like, oh, and I still don't get how it happens. That way where I'm trying to reason in my head. Sorry, I know I went into Scottish tone there. You don't know. In my side of my head, like how it happens, I still don't get it. And even that night, Jacqueline, as I say, I still don't understand how I was getting as much as what I was getting. It's all pretty new to me.
So that leads me to a question then, because when I communicate and pick up something, like I was chatting to somebody at the prison when Mark was there, I kind of remember what was said, or I remember who they were. Why do I keep remembering this? Because it's mad, isn't it? I remember all these characters I meet, and yet I meet somebody in the street, I don't recognise them 6 months on.
Well, I suppose we're working at different frequencies, aren't we, really?
Yeah. But I just
Sometimes
remember all this.
I always find sometimes, Jackie, you can be in like your paranormal mode from your daytime environment, and when you get in that field, you're in that different zone. So when you're in that, that's where it'll be storing, logging, collecting of whatever corridor you keep your information in. So from your daily brain and daily thoughts, that's where I always ask people to put them aside when they start working. And when you start working, you just go into that zone automatically. You know, we've all had it. We drive here, there, and everywhere. We go past somewhere, and you just go, "I've got to get in that building," and we can't. We're just driving past it, and I'm drawn to that building.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You need to go into there. Spirits are calling you, energies are calling you, and it's just like you want to get to the bottom of the stories. You want to get and communicate who's in and around in that building, and it's phenomenal how links tie in and fall into place. One day you could be on like a path with the Knights Templars. So you go to 2 or 3 locations in the UK, and then the link together is they're all linked with the Knights Templars, and you're like, that's bizarre. You know what I mean? Even a church or anything, they're like, oh, Knights Templars were here, and you're like, oh my word. And it's the path and the route and the things that spirits call you to sometimes where you don't realise or where they're putting you until you're actually there, and then you're putting the links in with, oh, that's got links with that place to get it in. And, obviously Judge Jeffries, I seem to bump into him so many places.
Oh, God, yeah, because I met him at the Skirrid. So basically, I went to the Skirrid to meet MJ. And a lady who was on the team with me at that time, called Marie, she actually had a photo of this guy who was going to wait for me at the Skirrid. He's wearing a suit. He got a little pocket watch, and it said 4 o'clock on it. So I was heading towards camping, so I was going to camp because it's kind of a long investigation, and it's an all-nighter. So I decided to camp the next night because it's a long journey. So decided to stop at this pub on the way to put the tent up because it's like horrendous, stormy. It was worst it could be, really. Nearly flooded. It was just really bad. So I pulled in this pub, which was in the middle of nowhere, and it's the Skirrid, and it's 4 o'clock. And that's what the picture said. And like this medium had sort of said that this guy was going to be waiting for me. So I took this picture into the pub and sort of said, well, this guy's been waiting for me. Who is he? It was hanging Judge Jeffries.
Wow.
And the link there was back to the National Justice Museum in Nottingham, the Robin Hood legacy in Nottingham, the Salutation and the Trip, who are all linked to a judge who used to work at the Galleries of Justice. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but it really that was the only time I was kind of really scared, thinking, well, why is this guy wanting to meet me? Like, how does he know me? You know, I thought, is it from a past life or something else? And yeah,
did he frequent Derby, Pat? Derby Jail
he's
and
been
Birmingham?
everywhere. He used to be a circuit judge, and he just went around
Yes,
different
he
places.
was. Yes, he was. Yeah.
So because the Skirrid was used as a court, and they did hangings there, and like also, as long as it's the same time period, Phil.
That is actually his house up on the Merseyside, but that's about half an hour from me. That's his old house.
Wow.
I didn't know that was his old hall when I visited there, Judge Jeffries. And one of the members of the team in the investigation said, Gary, can I have a word? I was like, yeah, what? And they showed me a plaque on the wall of all the owners. And it was hanging, it was Judge Jeffries owned Walton Hall at one point, not Walton Hall, Walton Hall. And that's been one of my favourite places that I've ever visited as well. And he resided in St. George's Hall as well. He sat in the courts there. And he came through 5, 6, 7 times as portraying himself as other energies as well. And I was like, what are you doing this for? I can't get to the bottom of this. And it was him playing games, testing you. And you're like, wow, just unbelievable. So just had some amazing experiences with him, as well as, there's a Stanley Palace in Chester as well. He comes through there quite a lot as well.
Crikey.
Wow.
Crikey.
Have you met him, Michelle?
Never. Obviously, an infamous name, but wow.
No, I've never met him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We did meet one or two interesting characters in the Old Bell. Do you remember, Phil?
Yeah, crazy place. Obviously, used to the scary, obviously scare actor.
So the Old Bell is actually a pub in the centre of Derby for anyone who doesn't know it.
It's down Sadlergate in Derby, and it's a great, big, very old building, and it's very, very active too.
Yeah.
And we were in there one night waiting. We were working with a group one night in there, and somebody came through, because I do sometimes work in trance, and somebody came through me. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And told us about a well.
Yeah, true story.
Didn't know anything about.
One of the gentlemen, he was innkeepers or somebody, big drinker, very, very big drinker, and stocky chap. And he told us a story about this lady, I think he murdered or something like that, Pat. And he threw the body down the well, and he says you walk past it every single night. The body's still there. The well's been covered up, but the pump has been moved. Now, again, try and tell the story to the police. So we actually tried to tunnel underneath the actual bell itself, about 3 foot up underneath the ground, but it was actually caving away. So we had to stop. But yeah, it's a true story.
But we walked round the courtyard. We didn't know anything about a well, did we?
No.
And then we did find that hidden behind a wall, there was a well.
Correct, yeah.
And we knew nothing about it until we'd been upstairs in this room, and this chap had been talking about throwing someone down the well. Might not have been the same well, I don't know. But the fact that they talked about a well, and we were, but there was one. It just intrigued me.
Brilliant.
Still does.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, very, very active place. I mean, that night we went up into the room 19? No, was it
19.
19. Basically, it's supposed to be the active room. It wasn't. It was the room opposite.
It used to be room 29. Used to be 29. That was the active one.
Yeah.
Remember, because it was the same number as my house at the time.
That night we went up, the sash windows started shaking.
Oh, God, yeah.
We tried to replicate it by jumping on the ground. Nothing. There was no music on. We tried to debunk it, basically.
Really loud rattle and shake.
Yeah. And I've actually been pulled back into a room as well. I was doing a scare one night with Richard, and went to go out to grab someone, and these hands come from nowhere and just grabbed me back into the room. Ooh. And I looked around, thinking it was someone else, in the room. messing around. But there's no one there.
I used to see a chap in RAF uniform in there as well.
Yeah.
Second World War RAF uniform. And there used to be just a glimpse of him again in those upper rooms, because I think the upper rooms were very untampered with. They were still in their fairly original condition. So whoever would have stopped there or whatever happened there hadn't been disturbed. So it seemed as if the elements or essential parts of it were still lingering. So you'd get little replays or little bits of information, and it was lovely. Since then, we've done it all up, and I don't know. I mean, we've not been allowed in since. Perhaps we ought to storm the place and see if there's anything still there.
There was a funny story up in that room as well, Pat. I was taking pictures, as you do. And
yes.
My hand got turned round in midair. Something touched the screen, took a picture. I thought, okay, it wasn't me. I looked back at the picture, there was a head coming out the wall. So this spirit took a selfie.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Phil, maybe we wanted to do your pose like.
Right, I'm going to try and show these Christmas things again. So I don't know if I can.
Certain time, lucky.
Give it a whirl.
Yeah, because I've never done this before. So I did it with pictures, to be fair. So it's a bit different, isn't it? So let's just see.
I can hear little voices.
Hello, Paranormal Path.
My daughter's wandering around in the hallway.
Yeah, we can see him. We can see Richard.
Yeah,
Derby Jail. Just had a Christmas party here. And I just want to wish all of you guys out there, wherever you may be, a very happy, merry and safe Christmas and an extremely happy New Year. And let's just hope that next year is better than the last year. All the best, guys. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, we certainly is right though, isn't he? We just need a better time.
We do.
It's been absolutely awful, and it's not heading a good way at the moment, is it? So we've got.
Well, the mannequin behind Richard was all set up for COVID, weren't he?
So we've got FM Spirit Researchers as well with a message.
Spirit Researchers, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
So I was so lucky to meet them at Derby Jail at a Christmas party recently. So we all did a bit of singing and stuff, and yeah, I did some singing with Richard, which was yeah.
That's why it was
definitely
so
different.
We've got Wings Paranormal here.
Hi guys, we are
Hi.
Wings Paranormal. John,
Amanda
comes along with us as well.
Hi Kev.
Hi Kev. Merry Christmas everybody.
Merry Christmas.
We are a small group. We visit a lot of historical places because we like a lot of history, and where there's history there's usually spirit. So we did start up in lockdown. We have done pretty well, but we have got stopped here and there with the lockdown, with health and bits and bobs. But next year it's all systems go. So we're looking forward to seeing you.
We have done some interesting places.
We have, yeah.
We've got more to come.
Places like Roach Abbey and Thorpe Hall.
Yes.
That kind of place, you know, where there's history.
Thorpe Selvin.
Yeah. Where there's history, there's spirit.
Yes.
So we hope to see you soon in the new year. Merry Christmas.
Happy
Take
New
care.
Year.
Yeah. Look after yourself, guys.
Just stay safe.
Yeah. Bye now.
Bye.
And we've just got one more when it
I
loads
just
up.
absolutely adore they too. They're so cool.
They're absolutely brilliant. I've met some
Absolutely.
amazing
Frankish
people this year.
paranormal researcher, author and writer, and I would just like to wish everybody out there, whether you know me or not, a very happy and a safe and prosperous new year.
But, yeah.
Oh, bless him.
So that's Barry. He kind of wanted to join us, but he he's got like other commitments, so he couldn't. So yeah, but I want to thank you everyone for watching, and so many wishing us happy Christmas. And you know, it's a time for loved ones, it's a time for families. Jessie Lee, Hiya, and Sam Thomas, and we've got Charles Rudd as well watching. So hi from Texas. Yeah, we're doing all right. Facebook user, I'm not quite. Oh, Shelley Smith. Hi, Shelley. Hope you're all right. She's from Paranormal Footprints. We've got Sam Thomas come. Say got to go and finish up. Want to say happy holidays and share. Oh, cheers for that, Sam.
Oh,
but you know, it is a time for your loved ones. I lost my mum and dad quite a while ago, but I did have a reading with Barry John one night, and he was like, my mum came through, and I sort of asked my mum through him if she would come back one day, because I think I've done this route primarily to get my mum to come through to my sister, and that's one of the reasons. And he said that mum will come through on a special occasion. So last Christmas I was round at my sister's, and well, it's Christmas Eve, and we got a present bag out, and I'd unwrapped my presents and I just left it, and we're just sitting there talking, and I sort of mentioned to my sister, shall I try and get mum through? And thought, well, you know, I don't know, but you know, I'll give it a go. And I sort of called out for mum, and the bag moved. It fell over all of a sudden. There's no breeze, nothing what could explain it moving. You know, it's not like, how long do you have to leave an object to say it could be movement and gravity? You know, so yeah, it's just spot on time as well. So that was just so lovely. But have you had any occurrences with your family, Gary?
Well, basically, I had a situation, I think a year last September. I had a big loss in and around me, but
yeah,
I was given that 2 years prior to it happening. So that period of knowing that this was going to materialize actually gave me more of a window to be around that person. So wow. I always found, as a medium, I always find my team and will give me more information, the better you can work with it and deal with it. So if you can deal with certain scenarios and situations, your team will give you a little bit more. So I found that hard to deal with, but I also found it very special, and that little thing that made that time more precious in and around with that. You know, it can really test you to the limit, but at the same time, spirits are giving you that window. Your spiritual team are giving you that window to say, take this opportunity to be around your friends, family, and loved ones, because I was getting information around the situation that did unfold 2 years prior to being given it. So again, it's them little things that count, and them little things that people give the information from mediums, give to friends, family, and loved ones about their loved ones. I had a development class Monday night, and I brought I transfigurated somebody through with a loved one that was in the development class. I didn't have to say anything, and that means the world. So it's not about myself, it's about them little things of giving back that means so much to people that's on the receiving end, which is, you can't buy that. And you know, that just puts everything into perspective, I think, especially this time of year. Do you know what I mean? It just brings everything in with, again, stay safe, be happy, look around your friends, family, and loved ones, even people that's having a tough time. Talk to people. There's people, there's nobody that will not talk or interact with people as well. You know, look out for people. We all look out for each other, because at some point in life, we never know when we need that half an hour or a word in somebody's ear. So again, special time of the year, and again, it's great to give back, and I love giving back.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got a bit of a conundrum that I've been going through. So earlier on, maybe about 6-7 months ago, a friend of mine who's, you know, is gifted, we're having a bit of a chat. And my parents are quite elderly, and Dad's 90, Mum's 85. She's got bad Parkinson's disease, and they're it's amazing they're still here, kind of thing. And she did say, your mum, she's not doing great, but your dad, you know, Christmas time, be concerned about it. And then Then over the last 3 or 4 months, my sister's never been to any of my events ever. Came along to 2 psychic nights, and at those 2 psychic nights, 4 different mediums have said to her, your dad's not going to be around Christmas time, and it's going to be fast and furious. So in this time, me, my brother, and my sister have put stuff in place for mum and dad. You know, all that, those emergency procedures that you're saying, Gary, you've got that window to get things in place. So we've been making memories over the past couple of months for mum and dad. We had Christmas last weekend. My sister, we've got Christmas Day at mum and dad's, and then my sister's going away for a week. So I'm committed to. I'm being sober for the entire period while my sister's away, because I'm going to be on the winter call just in case. And so I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, it's made me and my brother and my sister pick our backsides to get stuff in place. But if it happens, I'm prepared for it, kind of thing.
If anything in relation, though, I find, obviously, in a nice way, mediums get kicked from pillar to post, but again, sometimes you've got to refrain from giving certain information out in regards to there's always a time and a place, isn't there? And that's the professionalism.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was warned about my dog, actually. I went on a paranormal investigation, and it turned out my mum and dad went with me, who are in spirit. So basically, at the start of the event, I was at a theatre. So I sat in the auditorium, and there's a medium on stage doing the introduction to the event. And he basically says, you've got a lady next door to you. But yeah, my mum, I knew she was in the car. And then he says, so you've got a gentleman behind you in a wheelchair. Well, I didn't recognise that because my dad had only been in a wheelchair like the last 2 months. Last month or so of his life, really. But then I did click. But he actually mentioned a staffy. And I says, well, why you mentioned a staffy? The staffy's alive. And he mentioned the name Mr. Bones. Well, it's not anything anyone understands. But my friend actually had until recently a dog called Mr. Bones, who at that time had a tumour. So basically, in a way, they were warning me that my dog had got a tumour. Roll on about 2 months from that day, he started having fits, and he had a brain tumour.
Bless him.
So they kind of warned me about it, which was amazing.
I always feel certain ways that people deal with things, as well as this time of year. It's like around the table, put an empty space for that friend, family, or loved one as well around the table. And I certainly know my very special person around me would love a roast. Do you know what I mean? So again, it's setting that place. It's doing your own little things as well that tick the boxes for yourselves as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is just a time to get through it the best way you can.
I wouldn't have a table
if you've got family to make the most of it.
That's right.
What was that, Wayne? Sorry.
I wouldn't have a table big enough.
Bless you.
Banqueting table.
Just to lift the mood a little bit, I went to a comedy club just recently, and there was a comedian. And if you've got pen and paper, write this down. Patricia's seen this already, actually. He's a comedian. His name is Tom Binns, B-I-N-N-S, Tom Binns.
Tom Binns, I'm writing it down.
And he's a comedian. He does different characters, but one of his characters is called Ian D. Montford. So Ian, the letter D, Montford, and he pretends to be a psychic medium doing stage platform, and it is very laughing, painful, brilliant to watch. So do just go on YouTube and watch it. It's been filmed covertly. I bought tickets to go and see him in Ashby, and he wasn't there because he's stuck on a cruise ship. They should have docked a few days ago. They wouldn't dock, and he's stuck on the cruise ship. He's not back in the UK for Christmas.
Yes, I remember reading that. Yeah, bless you.
Do go and check him out. It's hilarious.
Like Peter Kay and the comedy club with the psychic.
Absolutely brilliant. He says things like, now most mediums, they put you in touch with people that you know. I'm slightly different. I put you in touch with people that You don't know, and it's just goes. It's brilliant. Enjoy a giggle on that one. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
What can I throw a question out to all of you there? What would you say the funniest moment on your investigations would have been this year? Because you have to have that stage where you have the funny moments, you know. What would you say a funny moment on this year's investigation's been for you all?
I would say it was when I was out investigating with the first ever team that I've ever been with, and we went to Stirling. It was Stirling Jail, and I'd been down the stairs and I went up the stairs and I felt sedated. Thought maybe it's just I've not had much tea today. Went back down for something, felt fine, and I was like, "Don't get it. Go back up, feel sedated." So I said to obviously the team, I says, I'm going to ask if this is where they've been sedated. I says, because I feel like down the bottom, I'm absolutely fine. But when I come to the top, I feel like I'm sedated and I'm starting to wobble. So it goes on the EVP and I says, hi Spirit, can I just ask, is this where you were sedated? So I can see it chatting. Right, okay, listens. Bold as brass. F you, ya be. Well, I went into stitches. Absolute stitches. And you know that yawn way where I was crying with laughter and I'm trying to contain myself. And then I tried to do another EVP, but the fact that I had said that, I was laughing during the EVP, and it took us half an hour to assemble back to normal because it was just that yawn way where that wasn't the answer I was expecting. So then it was then when I was trying to do the EVP again, all I did was laugh, and I kept apologising. I'm like, but I honestly, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. It was just your response.
We had a lady on an investigation, and you know how sometimes people's bodilies noises occur, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
and there's this particular lady.
The sound of fear.
Her tummy was gurgling quite a bit, but during this one particular session, every time her K2 went off, her tummy gurgled at the same time. It was bizarre.
In fact, saying that, Michelle, we was at the Antiques Paranormal Research Centre, and was in the seance room. There's about 4 or 5 of us, and we believe Spirit was using our stomachs to communicate. Remember that, Jackie?
Yeah, it was funny because like we admitted all of our stomachs were going crazy.
Yeah.
It was really mad. Like I don't think your stomach rumbles that much, and everyone's was doing it. But there's times that we weren't doing it, and it's something else in the room was responding.
Yeah.
So I think something was causing our stomachs to rumble to some degree, but something else, not us, was replying as well. It was absolutely mad.
Every single person wanted it around the table. Every single person rumbling. It was bizarre.
It always gets me in that seance room there. You can go anywhere, but you go in that room, your stomach starts rumbling. It really does.
How about you, Gary? What's your funny moments?
My funniest moment, I would safely say where, and I don't mean to be a smarty pants, it's just like when you've got a link and a connection. I was in Shrewsbury Prison, and it was about the summertime, and they had the board out, and I said to 2 ladies, I said, go over into that cell there. This seemed to be the strongest energy in and around there. And they actually had the person on the board in the middle of the corridor of the prison. We had the person from that cell on the board at the time, and he was coming out with loads of expletives and everything. Public were on the board and everything. And then I instantly said, they will not be in the cell very long. And within 3 or 4 seconds of that, both women came running out. And they were virtually, I'm going to say, white as a ghost. They were just like pure white. And the lady had took a picture, and she said, I could feel hands all over me Well, I was just creased up, and with that stuff like that on the board at the same time. But when you instantly get your team saying they won't be in there long, and next minute they both just bolted out this prison cell, I was just like, I'm creased up, but that's the evidence of two links connecting. What's going on, and my team are talking to me at the same time. But when the team's talking to me, my guide is quite cheeky. My guide is like, he's up for a rumble. He's up for everything all the time. You know what I mean? So he will add his words, and I can't repeat them sometimes. And then I will instantly sometimes forget that I'm connecting with my guide and say what he's saying. And I'm like, oh, I've just said that. And I was virtually saying like, oh, they will come out the pants and run out this cell. And I'd virtually just said it. And then next minute, the two girls come out. And I've actually got the picture from that night of why the ladies run out of that room. And it was just, it was quite incredible.
Yeah.
Well, that was so funny. Me talking when my guide's talking to me and saying what he's saying, and I shouldn't be saying it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, here we go again. I should think before I speak sometimes, but I won't. I'll cover the lady's face up. But there was only the two girls in the cell, and that was the actual energy that we had on the board.
Wow.
The male that actually was touching her. There was only her in the end of the cell.
Yeah.
The actual hand crawling up her.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's with that
little naughty.
It was just pure white, and when you see somebody, they were like, and I was just like, oh no, that was funny in a way of me saying things where I shouldn't be saying, and where my guides told me something, and I'm like, oh, I've just said that, you know. So that was funny on me, but to see their expressions of them pure. If you could have took photographs of them or filmed them coming out that cell at the time, and we were in pitch black. There was only little lights on around the boards, and I just went, they won't be in there very long. They'll come out running. And I wrote it down as well on the pad, and it showed the people around, and they just bolted out this cell, and I was like, oh, I've done it again, haven't I?
Brilliant.
Awesome. I scared a ghost. That was good. So I was at the village in Mansfield. So basically, it's like the basement. It used to be an old abattoir, and it also used to be after that a nightclub. So
yeah,
I'm just standing in this area, which is like what they use for the shooting games again. And I got this dark shadow right on me. So I screamed. Everyone else in the room screamed. And then the REM pod went off. So I scared a ghost. So he wasn't expecting that. And he legged it past the REM pod. And they said, well, you know, I'd just been seeing, you know, I didn't see anything. Well, why did that REM pod go off? It's there, isn't it?
Right, I'm going to have to bounce now because I've got someone coming round. So I'm going to say Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas. Meeting you all. Have
Take
a safe
care, Michelle.
one. I will see you.
Take care, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
See you next year.
I'm going to have to bounce as well, guys.
We're all going to have to
use-
finish anyway, but I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank you. I wish you all a happy Christmas, happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
And
take
happy
care.
Hanukkah.
Have a
Jacqueline,
great New Year.
Yeah,
Jacqueline, can I just do a quick plug?
yeah.
Tomorrow night, I'm going to try and boost the original Christmas tradition of a ghost story on Christmas Eve. So tomorrow night at 10 o'clock on Wayne Seaton Presents Spooky Nori, I'm going to be doing a Christmas ghost story that has never been heard.
Ooh.
Wow, that's
I'm
good.
going to be
What I'll
reading
do
it
is share
live
the
at 10
link.
o'clock.
It's actually going out to 3 networks, this is, so I'm going to share the link onto each one for you so people can find it.
Lovely.
Anyone else doing anything live?
Well, I'll try and tune into that tomorrow night in between the darts. I'll have the dart. I love the darts this time of year. You know what I mean? It's the only time I really watch that. But
I'm going to attempt to go live tomorrow at some point. So watch this space. This has been my first live without me going anywhere.
Oh, bless you.
Should be interesting.
So
You've
that's
got it,
on
brother.
Black
You've got it.
Shook, isn't it? So I share that group as well. So if anybody wants to watch any of the lives, so we've got Gary Fields. You tend to do lives as well, don't you?
Yeah, I have invested in some equipment, and obviously I lose that much equipment. It's just
I wonder why, yeah.
Unbelievable. And I always say to people now when I go in the room, watch where to put stuff, and then remind me when we come out of this session.
It's a nightmare.
I just lose that much stuff because I'm working other ways on. I'm already working, so it's like I need a PA when I'm going around. Basically, I'm going to be doing more lives out and about and getting me stuff in and around. Obviously, I've got personal things that I've been targeting this year, and I've been really, really busy. I've non-stop since August, basically. But I will be doing more lives and all this, that, and the other. My van's finished now, so I'll be going out to more remote places. So I've got my camper van all set up now, so I'll be going to more remote places, Wi-Fi prohibiting, and getting a link and a connection. I went to Mid Wales on Saturday night, and I actually slept in the van, and it was freezing. It took all the summer stuff, and I was still in there. So again, you live and you learn as you're going on your trails as well. So hopefully, if we get a good connection and all that, we should be popping up in there more places and more remote places that's not been done, and that's what I'll be trying to achieve over the next 12 months.
Oh wow, that's cool. What time your show? Oh, it's 10 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10 p.m. GMT. I think Nick's in America, isn't he?
Me and Lois might be doing some lives as well. With the situation in the UK, it's getting a bit ropey, so we may be sort of just going on Paranormal Path, having a quick chat at night, just to see, how everyone is really.
Yeah.
If it is getting a bit, I live on my own. I'm going to be off work, and I may actually be stuck in my house. Yay! Writing my book. It will force me to write my book. So yeah, I just need to edit it. Then that'll be that.
Stay safe, guys.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Then.
Thanks for that. Thanks for you all. Thanks for having us. And again, please stay positive out there, folks. Please look after each other.
Yeah. If you just contact us, just PM me. Usually up for a chat if I'm not asleep. But yeah, all right then. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
You take care.
All right.
Thank you.
Happy New Year. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.